vestige. They are just leaving the great swamp of the Undines, that watery, murky, marshy realm. And we're going to join them directly on the deck of the Vestige. They've captured one of the hideous fetchling creatures, the Kayal, and learned something about his shadowy realm via interrogation and magical intimidation. So why don't we pick up with Lily, because I know you had something that your character was doing with a rodent of some sort.
Yes. Upon getting back on or getting on the ship, she's walking around. Just out of the blue, she managed down the ship with the food and stuff, pilfering a couple apples for God knows what. Who knows? She might be trying to put somebody to nose. And she finds this little rat skull just sitting there. She picks it up, put it on her face, grabs a few apples, leaves, and just starts talking to it. And the entire conversation is in Aquan. She's pretty much like, "So, how'd you manage to get down there?" "You don't say." Crazy random things like that. Yeah. She honestly, she doesn't even care if anyone starts staring at her. She's just doing what she does.
Saladin kind of backs away a little bit.
Yeah, great.
Skull-wielding shaman.
In case we've forgotten, I think everyone knows about our meeting with the Kayal prisoner except for Xandria, because we very specifically didn't tell her about that. But I'm gonna go hunt her down. Or Nava will hunt her down, rather. I go to her room and I kind of knock on the door. David, are you still with us?
I think he has gone into the light. What I told you, stay away from the light. It's not your friend. Unless they got milk and cookies, then you can go into the light.
No.
Oh, he's gone. That's good.
Him, I can shoe shop for work. And because Arby's gets their non-slip shoes to a company called Shoes for Crews, and I found out that they.
You guys hear me now?
Yes.
You're back.
Okay. I was wondering why everybody was talking over me. I must have cut out. My screen, it didn't look like I cut out from my end, but...
It looked like you froze on mine, so...
Ah. Okay. So, Lily, I was imagining, like, Miri is sitting there, she's talking to this skull. You said she's just kind of, like, chilling on some barrels, maybe down in the hold, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, she's sitting down there, because originally was going to go grab some apples and thinking about making, pretty much pulling a Snow White and giving somebody a sleeping apple or something. and she ends up finding this little rat skull and just sticks it on her finger, just like a miniature helmet for her finger, so to speak. And she's just first she's on the barrels talking to it, and then she jumps off and ends up going back up and starts walking around the ship talking to the skull.
Okay, so I'm imagining, Xandra is like walking on deck, maybe looking over the side. She does not like the height. And then she like glances over and sees you walking and like talking to this little skull. She just looks like really confused and scared. Like, you are like her teammate. She might have to rely on you and in combat, and you're talking to an animal skull on your finger. She looks really weird, weirded out by this. And then like Galilahi wanders by. He's like, "Oh, the shaman. She is communing with the spirits." And Xandra looks at him as if he's part of this idiocy. And they just have this great moment where Galilahi's like in awe of the shaman and her power, and Xandra is completely distraught about this situation.
Hey, quick question. What type of role could I possibly do by chance there were any spirits or anything on the ship, or is there anything like that?
In Pathfinder, unfortunately, there isn't any rule that I'm aware of that you can do that. If this were Warhammer or L5R, you can absolutely commune with spirits in those systems. Pathfinder is more spell-based,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Alrighty.
Yeah, but mechanically, we'd have to completely wing it in a way that I don't really want to do, especially for a mini campaign.
Alrighty.
But if we get some L5R or some Warhammer going on, then there's a lot more of that kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
So Micah, you said that Nava was seeking out Xandra, is that right?
Yes.
So maybe you come upon the scene with, Xandra is there. She's 6.5 feet tall, stone gray skin, this green tunic. Her hair is actually like green crystal growing out of her head. Galilahi, of course, blue skin. He always looks slightly damp. He's wearing some leather pants, a leather vest, bracers. So they're just kind of standing there watching Lily just Mara just run around there. What again, Lily, does Miri look like?
Give me a second. She is. I know she's like super short. She's 5'6", so not too awfully short, but short enough. Pretty much almost your stereotypical Undine look. With the occasional splotch of scales on her neck. Little gill. I know I have a picture in place.
What is Nova doing? You have your flaming albatross. What's Nova getting up to on this trip?
Nova's just having a heyday flying around the crow's nest. Occasionally stopping on the very top of it, just sitting there.
All right, perfect. So Nava, you're coming onto this scene, and you said you're approaching Xandra?
Yeah, I walk right up to Xandria and Galilahi, and I follow their gaze over to Miri, who's talking to the skull. And I'm like, oh, incredible! She is communing with the dead.
Yeah. Xandra is shaking her head.
Yeah. Finally kind of sort of into reality, so to speak, with all this commotion. She's like, I was just asking if these was, because I got some apples.
Right. Xandria, I needed to speak with you.
Yes, of course, Nava.
What is
She's
your...
like very happy to leave the two undines there communing with the spirits. And she kind of like starts to walk off maybe towards the front of the ship.
I follow along and I walk alongside her. I'm like, what is your relationship to the city-state where the great archives are?
And so she looks a little. She concentrates for a second as she's kind of choosing her words, and she says, "My father is King Akantha of Ursus. The great archive is located in Tassis. Their king is Melis. He was once an ally of my father. We fought together against our rival kingdoms. But there has been a schism.
No, that's too bad. Do you think that you would be able to get us access to the archives?
She looks a little confused and then a little thoughtful. I did fight alongside their army. I know many of the people of that city. Some of them would bear me goodwill, even though our two nations are under strained relations at this time.
If Saladin is on deck, I'd motion for him to come over.
What is Saladin doing, Thane?
Well, we just left, so yeah, I'm probably up on deck because we finished interrogating the guy. So I probably want some fresh air. So yeah, no, I look over and I see. Oh, I just forgot your name.
Nava.
Nava. I see Nava waving me over. I walk over and join the little huddle. Yes, what do you need?
It seems that relations between Tassis and the other city,
Ursus.
Ursus, are strained at the moment. Xandria actually possibly might. Xandria seems to have some goodwill among the people in Tassis, however, so it actually may be. She may be a better bet of getting us into the archives rather than her father.
Would gifts or tributes perhaps help sway the Oreads and allowing us access to the archives?
For what was that, Thane?
Would gifts or some kind of tribute perhaps give us a better chance at accessing these archives?
Sandra nods her head and she says, yes, tribute, a show of respect would go far.
What kind of tribute did you have in mind, Saladin?
I would think perhaps weaponry of some sort. And Oreads are they look favorably upon older swords, or not swords. Was it spears and shields? I believe.
That's their usual style of fighting.
Yeah. Perhaps something of that nature we could find or either produce or find somewhere.
Xandra kind of nods her head. She says, it seems to me, Saladin, that you have brought an abundance of firearms on board.
I have.
Perhaps a few in tribute would go a long way.
Will they appreciate such weaponry? I know that Oreads do like their traditions as such.
My people believe in courtesy. If a gift is offered, it is the manner of the giving of the gift that is most important.
Saladin nods, and if that is the case, I'm more than willing to trade some firearms in exchange for access. Perhaps I could even create a custom one during our journey, or modify one to be unique among its kind.
Well, you'll definitely have some extra time to do that as we're heading towards Felicia, so we can drop off that pearl.
A personal gift to King Melis would perhaps sway him to allow us access.
Well, then I guess I better get to work.
And Xandra looks a little confused, though, still, which seems to be her two common expressions are scowling and confused. But she does ask, why must we journey to the archive?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I thought she was... No, she wasn't. It was just us three.
We would like to...
Are you hoping to find the language of our prisoner?
Gali has provided us with a way of speaking to the prisoner.
Ah. So you have already spoken with him?
Yes, he was quite cooperative. You didn't miss much.
Yeah, at this point, Mary will just saunter on up and just stand there and just live till she finds a proper time to butt in her 2 cents.
I'm imagining like the three of them are talking, and then suddenly Xandra notices Miri has like snuck up beside her, and Xandra's like, ah! She's like 6'6". And your character's like, actually, the first time you described your character, you said she was like, I think I wrote it down. You said she was very short. She was like 3'8" is what you said.
Oh, that's
that
right.
May have been
an
illusion.
Wait, no, you're right. She is super short. I just forgot it on my sheet.
Yeah, so you come up to like Xandra's belly button or something. You're like a hobbit compared to her almost.
Care for second breakfasts?
What have we learned?
Steps back because he doesn't want to deal with this.
He just puts his hand on his gun. He's reaching down.
I'm not going to be. He doesn't want to be the one to have to explain why exactly you want to go to the archives. He'll leave that to the captain of the ship.
Oh shit! Okay.
Crunch on an apple.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say you started eating the skull.
Did we come up with a reason to go to the archives last time? I kind of can't remember. Because I thought we discussed this a little bit before.
I remember I told Xandria that we wanted to peruse the wisdom of her people, but
we didn't go into specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah, last session, just to give a quick recap, you interrogated Zangief of the Kayal, the fetchlings, and he told you that contact had been made perhaps 1,000 years ago between this world and his shadowy world. And the Shadowland, the people there, the Kayal, seeing the great bounty and the light and the food and the fruit of your land, want to merge the two planes together and merge their people with your people. Now, this would be in most opinions, bad for your plane. Good for their plane, bad for your plane. So you've learned that is basically their plan. And I believe the reason you wanted to go to the archives was to see what exactly did happen 1,000 years ago. And do they know more? Is more recorded about the nature of the planes, how to bridge them, how the travel's conducted, and all that stuff. Because your prisoner doesn't know these specifics. He's not a sorcerer. He's just a scout, essentially.
Well, didn't he? He told us a slightly different story than we heard from Xandria, or just the general knowledge that we've had. Because he said something.
Yeah, I mean, general knowledge is like these. General knowledge is like these things are just the boogeyman and they're a myth. Like you never thought they were actually real until you captured them.
Yeah.
There was he mentioned there was like a portal they tried to open and tried to have like peaceful contact. The Oreads like wiped them out when they tried to come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did say something along those lines.
Oh, Xandria, we're simply trying to peruse the wisdom of your people. Knowledge is power, after all.
She nods. My people are wise, yes.
Did we ask Xandria if she knew about the previous contact between the Oreads and the Shadow Folk? Or did we not ask that?
No, we have not.
You haven't asked her.
Okay. Maybe we should ask her, since we're all here.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Maybe kind of vaguely, but...
So how would Saladin phrase that, Thane?
Saladin does not want to raise this, but
I will.
I guess I would ask,
Okay.
or if you want to go, I'll come up with something, but if you already have something, Saladin will gladly pass the torch. He is not very charismatic.
Okay, let's see. Charisma. Let me check mine. I think I got a pretty decent one. Yes, it's okay.
Well,
It'll
what do
work.
you think Mira would say?
She would probably. She would probably just be like, just recently I was reading this old book in my mentor's little makeshift library, and I came across the passage talking about your people, princess, around 1,000 years ago. Something dealing with people from another plane of shadow or things like that. It was a very, very vague passage. Can you tell me if there's any truth behind said passage?
Sandra just looks at you like you're being kind of foolish, and she's like, "Yes, your people are vague." Like she thinks you're just talking about like some fairy tale that you've read.
I guess I'll ask. Sorry, what were the name of these people? My brain's blank again.
The shadow people are the fetchlings or the Kayal. They call themselves the Kayal, but you guys mostly just call them fetchlings. That's the common name.
I guess Alexandria, just do you happen to know what do you know about these fetchlings? I mean, we've all heard the fairy tales, I guess, but in all the history of the Oreads, is there anything else that you might be aware of?
She like looks she shakes her head. She's like, no, we have our stories as well, but that is all they have been, is stories.
Well, princess.
Although I am no lore master.
Well, princess, by what we've discovered, there are no stories. Ain't that right,
She
Rami? And she brings lower at skull.
The party is expanding. We now have the undead rat.
Beep beep. Name Rami.
But
For
Xandra
some reason,
nods
he likes. Go ahead.
as if like that's the first thing you've said that makes sense is, you know, these stories are no stories. You know, they are real. And she actually does agree with that, obviously. I mean, you've captured 2 fetchlings.
Is there anyone that you can think of that know more about what we're speaking of, Princess?
She looks like she finally realizes, like, yes, the Great Archive.
Let's see. Question. By chance, would Mary know of this great archon or have
No,
heard of them?
the archive that you're going to.
Oh, archive.
Yeah,
I thought you said
yeah.
archon.
No.
So she
Like,
doesn't know
ooh.
anybody specifically that we could ask.
No. Now, I mean, remember, she is a soldier. She's not a priest. She's not a lore master. So her knowledge of history is very limited.
Right. Well, I'm gonna go let the helmsman know that we're gonna be stopping in Felicia before heading to the archive,
All right.
and Nava will walk off. Before I go, I turn to Saladin. Let me know if you need anything with for manufacturing that weapon. I'll be happy to provide it for you.
I shall let you know when we get to I brain just blanked again to the South Capital,
Felicia.
Felicia. But I did bring a lot of supplies with me. Hopefully, I shall have sufficient supplies to craft an elegant weapon for this king.
Very good.
All right. Does anybody have any further scenes before you reach Tia?
Did Xandri ever get that bottle of alcohol I left in her room?
Yeah, she did, but I'm not sure if Saladin would know that she did.
That's true.
Before walking away from the princess, Mary reaches into her cloak and pulls out a nice shiny red apple. And Princess, you look famished. Have an apple. They're delicious.
Right. She takes the apple and she nods, just thank you. And she just kind of stands there holding the apple but not eating it.
And Mary just walks off to do whatever she has planned in her crazy little mind and munching on her little red apple.
I guess the only thing I would need to do is I'll probably start crafting this weapon. I'd probably take one of the pistols to start.
All right.
Should I roll craft for that, or I guess some kind of engineering maybe?
I was just about to ask if you want to use the Pathfinder rules, or if you just want to make a single test, or how you want to do that. So I'll leave it up to you, Thane, because mechanics are not my forte.
Yeah, I don't know the Pathfinder ones either. I guess.
Okay. Well, yeah, just make whatever craft skill would be most apt. Whatever you do have on your character, just roll that.
I don't know the process for making like a +1 weapon, or I guess I'll make it. I'll try to modify this into a
It's very, very complicated by the core Pathfinder rules. So I would say let's not do that.
Let's not.
Just make just make whatever relevant craft skill you do have. Just roll a craft check on it.
Could I argue? Nah, that's probably crafting. Actually, could I argue to use my engineering skill to upgrade the mechanics of it into like a master weapon? But then I'll also make a normal craft check to kind of like recraft the grip and the wood to make it more um, eloquent and fancy. You know, that'll be a craft trick instead.
Absolutely.
That bad kind of going straight for the higher one, but it kind of makes sense to me. Ooh, that's a good 17 plus 8,
Nice.
3, so 25, I think. And then for modifying the looks of it into something fancy, that's a 19. That's not bad.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, you are at work making a real masterwork of the gunsmith's craft there. And I'll leave that up to you whether you end up with just a very beautiful flintlock or if you're making him a revolver, because I know you have a revolver. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'll probably just make a flintlock.
I'm
I feel like
I'm almost
revolver stuff.
thinking I'm almost thinking like Saladin ends up making a pistol that's nicer than Saladin's pistol, and he just quietly puts that one into his belt, and he takes his old one and just gives that to the king instead.
God, don't jinx me. No, I think I'll probably make like a wheel lock or a flintlock or whatever, just because like the pepper box rifles, revolvers, they're basically like military tech for the efforts, you know. So you
Yeah.
can't just hand those out, you know.
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can find a cool little pistol picture to share. But yeah, other than
Okay.
that, I think that's my scene is just him crafting.
All right. And the white vestige is then making its way through the skies and towards the sky city of Talicia, where they are hoping to reconnoiter with their allies. So we can have you coming into the sky city. As first, it's a dot on the horizon, and then it slowly grows nearer and nearer, and you can see the towers and the palaces of the sylphs built up on top of that flying island, and it's all beautiful white marble and flying buttresses. These sylphs love this high needle-like tower-style architecture. And maybe you even see, another skyship doing its rounds about the city as well. And all the sylph sailors are waving to you from the deck as you come into the sky port.
Nava will smile and wave back, as well her crew.
All right, so you've come back to Talicia. What is your first step? So Saladin, you said that you were going to seek out your sultan. Is that right?
Wait, sorry, what? Oh yeah, and I was gonna bring the orb to the sultan. Yeah, for
All right.
if he's still there. Is he still there?
Yes. Has some apartments that have been set aside for him, and you find Sultan Naziha El Sami waiting there for you. He's put up red banners all over the walls and lush red carpets. Now, I believe, did we say that he had red skin? Because I know you have like this charcoal black kind of skin. Is that right?
Yeah.
And actually, why don't you describe what exactly does Saladin look like? How is he dressed and armed and such? Just going about his day-to-day business.
Saladin looks pretty young. He's only about 24 summers old. Average height, so he's about like 5'10", 5'11". That's a little bit more on the tall side. He's kind of lanky. He's not as strong as the average person, but it's just he spent a lot of his time in a bit more like studious manner, crafting weapons and stuff. firearms. Um, in terms of his outerwear, he's got a lot of layers on because pretty much everywhere else is colder than he's used to. You know, living in the desert for most of his life. Um, he's got like a dark brown cloak over this ornate crimson colored uh, um, gunman's duster. That's his primary feature, I guess. Is this dark crimson coat. Um, and then underneath that, he has a layer of leather armor to protect him. Um, he has um, a strap bag on his side, filled with ammunition for him to use for his rifle. And he also has a leather holster for his pistol around one of his legs. He's a little bit less like ornate than the average Ifrit, but that's really more just practicality than anything, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and as you're shown in Sultan Nazia El Sami, the great patron of science, most Ifrit, of course, are wizards. They are the greatest magicians in the world. But this sultan has chosen to pursue rather alchemy and artifice, technology instead of magic. And that's why he is your patron. And he has this big smile on his face. He has a red skin, like an orange beard, black and red robes. He's dripping with rubies. He has a huge turban with a phoenix feather on top and a ruby set in the center. And he comes up to you. It is so good to see you, Saladin, my friend. How fares the quest? And he comes to give you the big hug and the pat on the back and a kiss on each cheek, the big smile.
The quest goes well, I believe. We have discovered our enemy. It seems that the fletchlings of myth and legend have some basis in reality.
His eyes go wide in shock. Oh, Saladin, how can this be that you tell me this? You are the great artificer. You do not believe in this magic and this boogeyman.
Well, it's kind of hard to ignore what my eyes have seen. We've even captured um, one of their military commanders. You can interrogate them at your will, and you can see that they are indeed they are not myth nor legend.
Surely, Saladin, it is an illusion. Spit at his feet and spin 3 times and say, I disbelieve, and he will vanish.
My Sultan, I hate to tell you this, but I have to believe what my eyes have seen. I've wounded these creatures. As I said, we even have one of them as our prisoner. We've also discovered how they've managed to infiltrate cities as such. And then I pull out the orb from my bag. You know, I unwrap it and I kind of hold it like at a little bit of a distance. I show them that this is some sort of magic that allows them to teleport into our realms.
These are dire portents, Saladin. Come sit, smoke with me. I have a hookah. I must calm my nerves.
Saladin agrees. He's been kind of calm outwardly, but this is some serious shit going on. He's a little.
Yeah.
This is not how he thought it was gonna go.
For sure. If your eyes say this is true, then I must trust your eyes to see for me, just as I trust your pistol to protect my body.
I was hoping, my Sultan, if you could take this orb back with you to our nation for study. This is how they managed to infiltrate our cities undetected. If we could perhaps some way replicate this item, or somehow figure out a way to track them, perhaps we could prevent more of these incursions.
Yes, I see. To return home, that would be a great boon to me, but the sylphs, they take their time. They are blown by the wind. And yet this is important. It needs speed. Saladin, why do you not simply courier the orb yourself? Wherefore do you go?
How much do I trust the Sultan? Like, he's my patron, or like,
he's
are we?
Patron. He pays for all of your gear and your workshop and everything. He sends a horse.
That
Huge orb. Sufar is
a messenger to deliver that to my grandfather, letting him know that we have encountered fetchlings in the forest and that we believe that there may be more information on them to be found in the Oread archives. Just a quick status update. I don't particularly want to meet with my grandfather, and he seems... we were just here a couple days ago, so...
Yeah. What about Miri? Do you do anything while you're in Talicia?
By chance, are there any other shamans or any other mystics in town by chance?
Yeah, the Council of the Four Elements, the Sultan, birds as pet.
To a group of friends and myself are on this important mission to hopefully save the world, to save all the kingdoms. And by chance, have you heard anything of people from a plane of shadow by chance?
Isa like smiles as you say hello to
him. And that's where I found out about the quest they are on. So I am watching over them, helping when I can.
She nods and she seems people. That it must be a new wisdom that we look to, not an old one.
Direction you can appoint my companions and I to possibly find more information on these new people.
She just kind of shakes her head, and
the person that I have spoken with, they tell my companions and I that their people are wanting to merge the worlds together, merge light with dark. And I feel deep within myself that is a very bad idea. But on the other hand, I do feel like there is some way that there can be balance between the two. Because without the light, you can't have the darkness. Without darkness, you can't have light. There must be a perfect balance between the two.
Isa nods. She looks very concerned about this.
Very first thought.
Perhaps a new world will come.
They're wanting to... crap. I'm trying to remember everything that we were told.
Sure.
Didn't they pretty much want us to become what they are and then become what we are, or something like that?
Well, he said that he wanted to merge the people. I'll just take like a 5-minute break then.
Yeah. my next move, so to speak.
No problem.
Oh, never mind. It was my stomach.
There you go.
Yeah, we're back.
I gotta get some more.
Yeah, yeah. I completely forgot to level up, so I'm working on my spells now.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh my god.
I gotta get some more Sky City pictures. I didn't expect us to come back. I have a lot of pictures of canyons prepped for the Oreads city, but I don't have any. I don't have a lot of skies.
Did we say? Well, was it mentioned how long we're staying in the city?
I'd assume at least a few days, just to get resupplied on the ship and everything.
Okay.
Supplied on the ship and everything.
few days, for a couple of days.
Yeah, you could do that too. Just
Oh, I
come
did
in
take
and have
pictures
your
of-
meeting that way if you want.
I mean, are we low on supplies? If we are, I guess we should resupply. Just
No,
in
I don't think you'd be low on supplies. I mean, you know, just in terms of like fresh produce. But no, you're not low on supplies in the fact that you'll starve to death. You're just low on supplies in the fact that now you are down to the ship biscuit instead of the. Yeah, you could. You haven't used much ammo, but yes, you can definitely do that, even if you are only there for a few hours.
Okay,
I mean, yeah.
cool. That's all. I just wanted to make sure I don't run out in the middle of a fight. You know, it would be very bad for me. 'Cause that's all I do.
Yeah, unless, you know, I don't usually track every bullet.
A few more hours, and if it was all right to hang around with her and her teach. I'm pretty much saying if there's anything that she is willing to teach her in such a short time. You know, to gain more knowledge of the shaman way, since she is more experienced.
Yeah. Well, the shaman.
Mary, you know, just something to show her respect towards her elder.
Yeah, absolutely. She'd be very happy to break bread with you. And
Fair Verona.
all right. So could we cut to us departing the city? Is that sound appropriate?
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yes, the white vestige, which is in that sky dock, has the supplies, you know, quickly hustled on board, barrels of fresh produce and crates of more ammunition for Saladin. You know, every time he gets a chance, he has to cram some more explosive gunpowder onto the ship, because that will be safe. That's a good investment, just to load up the ship with as many explosives
It's
as
important to
possible.
be safe. You know.
Nothing bad ever happened to a ship full of explosives. Never.
Oh no, never. It's the only way to fly. You know.
Boom makes us
Pack.
go faster.
Exactly. And most importantly, rocky valleys and canyons. And you can see the rivers that have carved these canyons, glistening in the sunlight, deep, deep down these stone precipices. And your sky ship, the white vestige, is flying over it, maybe at times ducking into the canyons to catch a favorable air current, because the air is funneled through these canyons. It makes it like a super highway for your sky ships. You can see the water carved shapes in all of the rock. And then eventually, you know, you come through to the city that is carved into the side of the canyons here. The city of the Great Archive, the city of the Oreads. And they, of course, also have their own sky port. They do a lot of trade with the sylphs. The sylphs are the map coming into a port, but this time much different. You have the huge hulking Oreads helping to secure your goods and your ship, and a lot less of the friendly smiles and waves of the sylphs. The Oreads are very taciturn. Okay, let me see if I can pull that up, because I'll put it on our screen share here. Do you wait for ambassadors, or do you head straight to the...
Just wait.
Waiting seems like the best idea.
Yeah, actually, I'll turn to Xandria and be like, what do you think the best approach would be?
All right. So Xandra, she looks at you and she says, I am
just going to head out.
All right. Now, Thane, where did you put that picture? I can't seem to find it.
I think if you can pull it up.
Yeah, it's coming up now on Facebook. Yeah, just a sec. I just want to download that quick.
The other, my arquebus like slung over his shoulder. It seems like we're all gearing up to go meet with the king. I guess we're trying to be imposing.
Well, it might just be.
Is generally seen among the Ifrit.
Sounds good.
I'll bring 4 just to keep it symmetrical. I like the symmetry.
All right.
Okay.
I bring my albatross.
Of course, we can't leave Nova behind.
And she's actually going to start making her own little shaman amulet thing at some point.
So yes, it's very. It might be a good idea.
I mean, but to be fair, though, he is the one with more information than the grunt. For what that's worth.
Yeah, but we don't need him to be providing information. We just need to like show that these people exist, so that the king will take us seriously.
Yep.
That's fair. Yeah. No, you make a good point.
Yeah, later on, if necessary, we could always send somebody back for the lieutenant, or have Nova go in and wait. No, I don't think Nova's big enough to carry him.
No.
So our honor guard will be dragging this strange shadow fetchling in chains behind the group.
All right, good times.
Actually, no, that's probably a better idea, considering the lieutenant thinks like, oh well, it's all kinds of fucked.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's the better idea.
Zangia, I've been bringing him his meals and speaking to him and trying to speaking to him with and without the waters of the tongue, and trying to actually learn his language.
Okay. What about Thane?
No language any more than we have.
Okay.
Places that usually wouldn't be suitable for normal, sane people. Has just been sleeping in the corner near in the same room where the lieutenant is, just keeping an eye out on occasion. Just keeping one fiery eye open. Like I'm watching you.
Sounds good.
I do have 8 ranks in linguistics, so.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I mean, in Pathfinder, I don't think there's a real
dog in Ifrit when it comes to gunsmithing, but.
Well, I'll leave that up to you, Thane. Sounds good. Tunic, but he's still, and it's just taking in this.
Ava Westgale of the Merchant House Westgale. And we would like to request access to your high archives.
And his eyebrows raise at this. He nods his head.
We hope to find more information about them hidden within the high archives.
His eyes go wide. It's like raised
The dais,
steps to a platform. The platform has his throne, and he's standing in front of the. Does he prostrate himself in the fashion of the Ifrit? Because I
be disrespectful, and they want to get into the archive. So
well, that Saladin is unusually tolerant then, because most.
if you would like to examine it, it is one of a kind.
All right, and King Maris steps forward as you draw out that pistol. And he comes closer. He comes down the stairs. He's looking at it. He takes the pistol in his hand, and he's looking at the intricate carving and the filigree, and he seems very, very impressed with this gift. Now, I'll also get you to make a diplomacy test, though.
Oh, it's not horrible. That's a 15 minus 1. That's a 14.
That was very good. So he's impressed by your turning you, but
join this quest.
Perfect. Make a diplomacy test, Saladin, and I'll get everybody.
And whatnot. Is it possible to do this before I do my roll? Because it will help me on the roll.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, I'll be casting Focus Scrutiny. I get a +10 bonus on Perception, Sense Motive, and Survival checks,
Right.
as well as a +5 bonus on Diplomacy and Intimidate checks.
Excellent.
So let me see what my Sense Motive is. Good.
What do I know about Saint Zypho?
Saint Zypho is the patron saint of armies. So you all can tell that being is by you guys.
Gentlemen, I mean, disrespect on either end. What you both do is important, but there's a time and place for your little "I'm bigger than you are" squabble that's going on here. At this point, we're all equals, king, commoner. It's our world that may be endangered that we are trying to figure out. So whatever's going on between you two, settle it, get it over with, and eat an apple. Crunch.
While this is going on, I can just imagine like Nava is standing there. She's trying to be super diplomatic with everything, and then like both Saladin and Miri are like mouthing off, and she just kind of slowly face palms.
I did win. I'm pretty sure I won that diplomacy check at least. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a roll for.
Council rounds have met, and yet you claim that Princess Andrea would have no. With Princess Andrea's father being there, that she would have no stake in this quest of ours. Is very far from the truth.
All right, and but maybe that though is when
Total of 20.
it's probably
Little fiery staff, smack it on the ground, letting the gem on top burst into flame, and just I can't say look down at him, but she looks up and just glares at him.
Nava will walk up beside Sandria and set my hand upon the hilt of my rapier.
all right. You guys want to make a there you go.
So 17.
All right. So the high priest Argus, he is. The king looks like he.
For him, with a very displeased look.
I'm sure that you can do that.
uses the amulet. With her ring of mind speak, she tells the king in his mind that her plan. So don't freak out. Just giving him a fair warning. Wait. You know what? Everyone can see Saint Zypho. And just make it easy.
Well,
Yeah.
That makes it much more difficult.
It can be
All right.
as realistic as possible.
So I want 2 tests. I want a stealth test
of 17 for that.
Well, that's
15
good.
on the dice and 2 for my modifier.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was religion, so it'll be a straight up. That will be 11 total.
That's not bad. Okay, so basically it's an image.
On the other hand, it's yeah, pretty much a very displeased look with a bunch of you disrespect me in front of others like this, and this isn't how it should be type thing, if that makes any sense.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to make his, to put the whole party on the line.
Well, that too. She's like, sorry, guys.
Okay, so let's see. Ups. Then it's like, it shall be. All right.
That our ship could use, that our crew could use.
That's a good idea.
Hey, quick question. What time of day is it currently right now?
Nothing special, but we all need to be able to get along, and I hope I've proved myself a little bit here. In her eyes.
Yeah, she'll be quite impressed. Her charisma's like, there is no luck, Celadine. Only the fortune. No luck, Celadine. Only the fortune of the god. So maybe there is like any particular and
I doubt they'd be selling like religious artifacts to investigate the recent disappearances that have plagued this land.
I never would have thought. He does. His name is Stamatis. And if ever you find your
upon that floating island,
then your word is all the payment I require.
Head back to the ship.
Well, and he'll also insist that if at all possible, you need to come and have dinner. Oreads have infamously horrible food.
Sharp whistles and Nova just appears and not just appears, but flies down and sits in front of the store.
Codus is a little spooked by this bird, but he sounds good.
Plan. He loves his God, so why the hell not? And once again, my crazy why can't my ideas like this work in my D&D campaigns? Usually ideas like this of mine in my D&D campaigns gets me killed. Yeah. The longest one of my characters ever lasted 10 minutes.
Jeez.
10 minutes. Just because she made one major mistake. Well, I should say I made the mistake. And yeah, never try to get Swifty in front of royalty. Yeah. This character was based on Radagast the Brown from Lord of the Rings. His name was Vernon Gast. But anyways, yeah, extremely crazy. He was a druid sorcerer, pretty much, and he literally dropped trout and pooed on the floor in front of the king or the hobgoblin queen. Yeah, he was that insane, and the next thing I know, make a perception check. 1. You see dust. And then does 17 hit your AC? Yes. Why? You have 30 spears being stuck in you right now. Like, fuck. My first time trying to be diplomatic. My character was thinking, okay, these are very disgusting creatures. Why don't we do disgusting things and try to be their friend? Yeah, but I had a feeling that. Oh yeah, yeah. So I had a feeling something like that would happen, just not that fast, and I already had a backup. Yeah, my backup was already a prisoner of theirs, and yeah.
Honestly, I'm just happy that we've got him basically purely by sassing this guy.
I know, right?
Like, this is real good. I like this.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Make sure I got everything ready. Let's see. She used all 3 uses of Eye of the Trickster. And 1 out of 4 uses of the Ring of Mind Speak. Okay. Oh no, there's 6 uses for that, not 4. God, I need a cigarette, I swear.
Think you're gonna make it, Lily?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I have an extra cigarette butt here someplace.
You're getting desperate, man. If you're smoking butt.
And with all the stressfulness that was happening yesterday and still going on when I woke up this morning, or by the time I went to bed, I had 2 left.
Wow.
That's how bad I was smoking yesterday. Or near dead.
Oreads would say.
Who knows? Maybe one day the gods will take pity upon her and make her the new trickster god or something.
You never know.
Yeah. Or depending on what strikes her fancy at the moment.
Yeah. We have
I'm
you
here.
back, Micah?
I'm here.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And do we have Thane back too?
Characters was actually writing a story about the campaign, and guess who the bard was telling the story? It was me.
My character was a survivor.
And he
of the
made
great-
sure to mention in the story he wrote. Oh, no, actually, believe it or not, everyone survived the campaign. Barely, but we managed to survive. I just so happened to survive. I jumped in a damn bottle. The story behind much was years ago. She pissed off the wrong sorceress. Sorceress did some type of weird magic and trapped her inside of a bottle. The group was pulling in fish nets, found the bottle, and opened it up. Out flutters my character. Started annoying him right off the bat. Right back in the bottle she went. Yeah, she spent a lot of time traveling inside that one bottle.
My pixie was a survivor of the great.
Yeah, we could probably use some of that. Is there like so they tried to reach out peacefully at first, but then the council was like, screw that.
Yeah, it was peaceful. Yeah.
I mean, so basically, KL were inherently evil per se. Does this record help us form an opinion on that? Like, because it does sound that like I said, that it's really more the council's fault than anything the fetchlings did initially to kick them back into the shadow realm.
It really depends on your definition of evil. Like the Kayal want to come into this realm, but is there any in this
Knowledge history.
For knowledge, all I have is nature, planes, and religion.
I don't know if any of those would be applicable. Cold, it's dark, it's shadowy, it's populated by horrible.
Finding realm of lot. I have knowledge planes. I could see if by slight chance that Mary knows something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, theoretically,
there could be some negotiations if we can, because like was mentioned, you can't have light without the dark, and if there's a light realm without darkness, then for us it might be beneficial for everybody.
it's certainly an idea. It's a solid.
I guess if we really need to fashion another game, maybe we could go to the for capital if we need it, but I'm not sure we need to yet. We found out the battle tactics. There's one discrepancy. They didn't take people back then. That's something new or just not mentioned in the old one. That's all I can think of.
So the original reason we opened this plane was to try and find the heavens. Was that it?
Yeah, they were basically trying to explore the sea.
Because I don't think that we came for all the information and we got all that we needed. I don't think nothing else comes to mind personally, but I'm a little tired, so.
Yeah. No, I yeah.
Again, Jesus.
Gianni.
Anani, yeah, with the gate.
Yoni. Okay.
Sounds reasonable.
I mean, I guess if I can't fight on the crystal ball, that might be an excuse to go to the Earthford capital. I'm sure somebody there has a better tracking spell than I do.
Could be. Okay, so I think that wraps up session 3. And we'll come back hopefully next Thursday, session 4.